Hi everyone. We are on day 3 of geometry, and that is going to be verbal problems with angle of elevation and depression. And you should have right now, you should have your iPad in front of you to work on it, and you should have on another device, computer or your phone, you should have this being projected so you can follow along. I do encourage you please to pause this video whenever possible so that you can try and get ahead and then just check for the answers afterwards. So here we go. Let's get started. So we are going to look at the warm-up. The warm-up is worth it because it's just going over all the things we've been doing in the past few days and making sure it's all clear. So one of the things you have to be able to do is literally draw a triangle with a right angle and label it. That sounds super easy, but then you got people doing this, and this is insane. Please don't do this. It makes me sick to my stomach, okay? So you want to make a nice right triangle, like the letter L there, put a little angle in there, and then don't randomly put the letters anywhere. Specifically, G is your right angle, so that goes in here. And then you're going to have H and T can be any of the others. So when you label angle T is 37, that is an angle. That doesn't randomly go on a side. It is an angle. Angles are in these little crevices. This is angle T, so it's this crevice right here, 37. And then it says that HT, that's this, is 8, okay? So I have an angle there is 37, I have 8. Now they said find the length of GT, that's X. Now in trigonometry, it is very important that you understand that you are doing, you have three things. Trigonometry makes me think of try, okay? So you have three things. So here we have 1, 2, and the angle is 3. So we are ready to write our trigonometric function. So our trig function, or trig ratio, whatever you want to call it, based on this angle, this side here is the adjacent side. This here is the hypotenuse. So now you have H and A, and your brain should go right to SOHCAHTOA. And you have to figure out which one it is. It has to do with hypotenuse, so it can't be tangent. So the only one that's not involved is the opposite. So it must be cosine, because that one has adjacent and hypotenuse. Okay, so that's why we're going to use that one. It has the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So I go to it, I go cosine, and in here goes the angle. So there's going to be those three things go in 3 spots. Angle, side, side. So that has to go in here. The angle is 37, and the two sides, which is adjacent X over hypotenuse 8, that's where those go. Now, you're just going to cross multiply. So X is equal to 8 times the cosine of 37. So 8 times the cosine of 37 is 6.389. So that is round to the nearest integer, so that is 6. Okay, so that's it. So they asked you for GT, so GT is 6. Okay, so now in triangle ABC, so we're going to do it again. This time angle C is down here, and AB, nope, that's not right. Let's erase that. I can't just put it anywhere. C is the right angle. So this is A, this is B. Those can be either way. So AB is 16, AC is 9, and I need one more thing, the measure of angle B. So that would be down here, so I can put X there. Remember, trigonometry, we need 3 things. So this one, we have an opposite. We have hypotenuse, and we have the angle. So I'm just going to go ahead and realize that if it's SOHCAHTOA, and that is opposite, and hypotenuse is the one I'm using here. So this is going to be the sine of X. Angles always go in here. is 9/16. You cannot divide by sign. That's crazy talk. So in order to try and get the angle alone, need to get angle alone. And whenever that happens, you have to use sine inverse. So that is sine inverse. That's 9/16. So when you do sine inverse, that's like second sine in your calculator. So I go in my calculator and I press the second button and I press the sine button, and that's how I will find that. So that will be second sine of 9 divided by 16 is 34 degrees. Okay, so this one here is, they want you to find the length of BC. So BC is here. So I set that up and I go, I have the angle I have here is I'm going to use a different color this time. Here is going to be opposite. And this one here is, that one's opposite. This one here is adjacent. So this must be TOA. So that's the tan of 46 is equal to 11/x, opposite and adjacent. Cross multiply, so that's x tan 46 is equal to 11 times 1, right? So then you got to get x by itself, so you divide both sides by tan of 46, and you get x equals 11 over the tan of 46, and that is 10.62, which when they say to the nearest integer, that is 10. Oh, I was kidding. That is 11. Okay, so let's move on. So now what we're focusing on today is some vocabulary. And one of the vocabulary words that you'll end up with is the angle of elevation and the angle of depression. Okay, so if you draw a vertical line to complete the triangle, okay, you can see that this here is called the angle of elevation, and this here is called the angle of depression. So it's not a big deal. It's just that you should know that they're always formed with the horizontal line. So this is horizontal, it's not vertical, and this is the angle that forms it. And this is the angle that forms it. That's it. But what's important to know is that the angle of depression and the angle of elevation are pretty much the same thing. Okay, so here's the angle of depression. So if I make my triangle come this way, if I focus on this being my triangle, the angle of depression is the same as the angle of elevation. So that is an important understanding, that if you notice this is my angle of depression is the same as that one. And why are they the same? If you are thinking in your brain that these two angles are the same because of alternate interior angles, you are awesome. Alternate interior angles. Okay? Those are the alternate interior angles, and they are equal. In order for alternate interior angles to be equal, you need parallel lines. Do you see parallel lines? There are parallel lines. It's here and here. Horizontal lines are always parallel to each other. So now we can come to the conclusion that angle of elevation and angle of depression are the same. Okay. So now it's about writing these triangles, creating these triangles based on the information they gave you. A lot of this is very repetitive. So you start off by making a right triangle. I know it's a right triangle because, not just because of the unit, but Life Scout Brendan is hiking in the woods one day, and he makes his way up a cliff that is 40 meters high. He sees that his camp is at an angle of depression of 34. How far is the camp from the base of the cliff? So there's a lot of vocabulary there, and it's not an angle. They want to the nearest meter. Sorry. So just ignore that. Okay, so now a lot of this is about the vocabulary words. So when they say 40 meters high, that goes here. And the angle of depression is 34. Now, why is that? Why am I putting that there? Isn't that the angle of elevation? It is, but as I know, the angle of depression, that would be here, is 34. That's the true angle of depression, but I know because of alternate interior angles, those two have to be the same. Okay, just gonna finish writing this down. This was meters. Okay, oops, wrong one. So now we're gonna just work it out. So how far is the camp from the base of the cliff? So where is that? That's down here. So you hear these words like base, high, angle of depression. So I'm just going to have you scroll. Sorry, keep going. There's a blank page if you keep going. And on that blank page, I'd like you to just draw a triangle. And we're just going to label all the little pieces. Okay, as you know, this is angle of depression or elevation is this one. Angle of depression or elevation. It's pretty much the same thing. And then a whole bunch of other words that can go on the sides here. So for example, so like this one. Ooh, no, I don't want to do that. Let's stop that. I was going to put in like, oh, here, text. So I want to put some text. Like that is a word base often. It's also the word, the bottom. Not always. You just got to be careful. But there's certain words that just go well in this area. Shadow is often here. Foot of, you know, the ladder or something, you know, ... So those are words that go down there, okay? So that's good to put there. Over here, some words would be like how high something is, how tall something is, the height, the altitude, the word vertical. I mean, these are all words that you get used to that go there, okay? This one, and you can add more. I'm just getting you started with some of them, you know. So this one is usually this hypotenuse is sometimes the length of a ladder, of a wire. It's the line of sight, and there's more, but like I said, you know, we can just add to that. Okay. Anyway, let's go back. Oh, did I put base down there? I did, right? Yeah, I did. Okay, let's go back. All right, so now going back to this problem. Where'd it go? Here we go. So now let's figure out which one this is. So this one and most of them, so sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but most of them turn out to be my favorite one, which is tan. Okay, so I look at this and I have opposite and I have adjacent, and that's it. So that's going to be tan. So tan of 34 degrees is equal to opposite over adjacent. Cross multiply, so that's x tan 34 equals 40. Divide by tan 34, divide by tan 34, x equals, and then I could type it in, 40 divided by tan 34, and I get 59.3. And it says round to the nearest meter, so that's 59 meters. All right, hopefully from now, if you understand that, you should try the next one on your own. If you still don't understand, follow along with me and pause when you feel I'm going too fast. Okay, so I'm going to draw the next one. You are standing 20 feet away from a tree. Usually they'll say the base of a tree, but they just say tree. So you picture, if you're a tree here, if that's the tree, and this is you standing here, you are 20 feet away from it. I know some people think that that would be the hypotenuse, but that would be a line of sight from the top of the tree. So this would normally be a little more specific. So anyway, this is 38 degrees, the angle of elevation. How tall is the tree? That's here. So again, this is opposite over adjacent. So this is the tan of 38 equals x over 20. I know it's opposite, and I know it's adjacent because it's opposite that angle, adjacent that angle, okay? So cross multiply, and that would be 20 times the tan of 38 is equal to x. So 20 tan 38. So that is 15.6. So that rounds to, so x is 15.62. So x is 16 feet. Okay, that says feet. Okay, next one. If you think you're getting it, like I said, pause and try it and then fast forward to the answer and see if you got it. Okay, that's all that is. So a building stands level to the ground. Let's see. The measure of the angle elevation to the top of the building taken at a point 400 feet away from the base is 31 degrees. Okay. Find to the nearest foot the height of the building. Height. That is going to be my x. So again, sorry, I'm a little obsessed with tan, so I think a lot of them are tan. So this is tan of 31, x over 400, cross multiply, x is equal to 400 tan 31. So 400 tan 31, enter, and this is 24. So x is 240, sorry, 240. Feet, 240 feet. Okay, next one. From the top of a 120-foot lighthouse, so that's 120 feet is the lighthouse. Kevin spots a boat out at sea with an angle of depression of 26. So the boat's out here. Find to the nearest foot the distance from the boat to the foot of the lighthouse. Foot of the lighthouse. That's x. From the boat to the foot of the lighthouse. Okay? So then that's going to be, again, tan, because it's opposite and adjacent. So tan of 26 is equal to 120 over x. So that's an x. Cross multiply, x tan of 26 equals 120 divided by tan 26 divided by tan 26. So 120 divided by the tan of 26 is 246. So that is going to be 246. Okay. I believe that's 246 feet. Okay. All right. Now, at this point on the ground, so now these you should do, take a pause right now, and try these next ones on your own, and I will have them worked out for you to try afterwards. So I'm just gonna okay, so coming back to it now, if you had trouble with it, I'm gonna work them all out now, but if you already saw that you had this, you can move on till you see the monkey or something else. Let's see, we'll see how that goes. Okay, so let's see, you have a triangle 40 feet from the foot of the tree, so this is foot of the tree, so that 40 goes down there, angle elevation is 42, and find the height, that's x, find height. So this is going to be tan of 42 is equal to x over 40. So x is equal to 40 times the tan of 42. 40 times the tan of 42 is x is equal to 36.016. So x is equal to 36 meters. Okay. So from the top of the lighthouse, 165 feet above, these are very similar to the other ones. The angle of depression is 35. So that's 35, so you know, yikes. That's 35, so you know that's 35. So they say find to the nearest foot the distance from the boat to the foot of the lighthouse. So that's down here. Okay. So this again is tan. Okay, opposite of 35 is 165 over x. Cross multiply to solve. So this is x tan 35 equals 165. Divide by tan 35, divide by tan 35. X equals 165 divided by the tan 35. And that is equal to 235.6. And it says to the nearest foot, so 235 feet. Oh, I was kidding, 236 feet. Okay. Last one. Find to the nearest degree the measure of the angle of elevation. So now this time they want the angle of elevation. And they have a vertical pole, vertical, up, down, 6. And cast a shadow. Shadows are on the bottom, 8. So, again, this is tan, but now this is my x is my angle, and this is opposite, and this is adjacent, right? So opposite is 6, adjacent is 8. Now you can't just divide by tan. You have to remember that when you want the angle, you got to use tan inverse or function inverse. So tan inverse of 6 divided by 8, and my calculator, okay, is 36.86. So it's 37 degrees. Okay. So I added those parts. Now this page right here, you should at this point and so we are back to the last section. I'll just run through this, fast forward if you did it already and you just want to get to the answers. So let's go through it. Okay, this is very important that you realize that you label and know where everything is. So right here, that is my opposite. This is my adjacent. So this being, so this is going to be SOHCAHTOA. Let me just get that. I don't know why I wrote that. SOHCAHTOA. So we see that this is dealing with opposite and adjacent. My favorite, tan of 37 is x over 20. Cross multiply. X is equal to 20 times tan of 37, and we get 20 times the tan of 37 is 15.07, or we'll just round to the nearest whole number because I wasn't specific. There you go. Next, I'm going to use a different color. So this one is opposite, and this is hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse is so. So this is so. Yeah, that was kind of dumb. Sine of 60 equals x over 30. So cross multiply. We have 30 sine of 60, which is just a number, equals x. And then 30 sine 60. So that is x is equal to 25.9. So x is 26. That says 26. Next, I'm going to do a different color there. I like purple. So we're going to do purple. We're going to have this one is adjacent. This one is hypotenuse. So this is cosine. So this is cosine 41 is equal to x over 25. So cross multiply. X is equal to 25 cosine 41. So 25 cosine 41 is, oh, not 413, is 18.86. So this is x is equal to 19. Keep moving. So we have, let's do a different color. Let's do yellow or green. I don't know what the heck that color is. Okay, so now this is opposite. Ooh, that's a cool color, olive. And this is adjacent. Oh, my favorite, no hypotenuse, so I know it's tan. Tan of 65 is opposite is 30 over x, cross multiply, x tan 65, when I cross multiply equals 30, and then divide both sides by tan 65. Notice there's an extra step when x is in the denominator originally. So then x is equal to 30 divided by tan 65 is 13.9, so that's about 14. Okay, hopefully you got those right. If you are looking at this, now let's go to this one. New color. I always do purple, so let's go to black. I haven't done black. So this is the hypotenuse. This here is the adjacent. I know that one's the hypotenuse because it's opposite the right angle. So this is cosine. Cosine 35 is adjacent 19. Why'd that go away? Over hypotenuse, x. Cross multiply, x cosine 35 is equal to 19 divided by cosine 35 divided by cosine 35. X equals 19 divided by cosine 35, and that is 23. Next, I have got red. Red is opposite, that's opposite, and this is hypotenuse. So that has to be sine of x is equal to 8 over 24. So I can't cross multiply here because I want angle. So when you want the angle, it's not a cross multiply sort of thing, it's sine inverse. Sine inverse, that thing with the second sine, 8 over 24. So do second sine, 8 over 24, and you got 19 degrees. Okay, and over here, let's get another color. I want, I like that olive color again, but I'll do something else. Okay, so this is adjacent, hypotenuse. Ooh, let me make that look better. Hypotenuse, and this is adjacent. So then this is going to be cosine of x is equal to, the adjacent goes on top, the hypotenuse on the bottom. So you do cos inverse of 12 over 15. So second cos 12 divided by 15, and you get x equal to 37 degrees. I'm rounding to the nearest whole degree. And last, I might as well finish purple. So there's no hypotenuse being used. So this is opposite, this is adjacent, hypotenuse is not being used, so you know that's my favorite. Tan of x is adjacent, is opposite first, adjacent here, because it's OA, remember? So it is going to be tan inverse of 12 over 18. So second tan, 12 divided by 18, and you got yourself x to be 34 degrees. Okay. Lastly, a wire is attached. Again, wire. I think I told you before, wire is this piece that is the hypotenuse is the wire, is attached to the top of a pole that reaches the stake on the ground. Yes, that is not food. That's like a wooden stick to the ground 20 feet from the foot of the pole. Okay, that's the foot of the pole, so you know it's on the bottom. And it makes an angle of 58 degrees. Okay. Find to the nearest foot the length of the wire, so they want that wire. So this is adjacent, hypotenuse, so we're talking adjacent and hypotenuse. Let me get another, so this is adjacent, this is hypotenuse, so this is cosine 58 is equal to the adjacent side 20 over the hypotenuse x, cross multiply. That's x cosine 58 equals 20. So x is equal to 20 over the cosine of 58. That says 58. So 20 divided by the cosine of 58 is 37.7. They said to the nearest whole number, so 38 is your answer. All right. That's all for today. I hope that this makes it so that you can do your homework. I hope that you're able to provide all this work for your classwork. I know it's a lot, and I hope you're just doing well. Stay healthy.